My guest on this week's episode of Suds Search is Brian Barwig, Local SEO Manager at Sterling Sky. Brian has been working in local SEO since 2008, and he is one of the most respected voices in our industry. He's a contributor to the annual Local Search Ranking Factors study, which is prepared by Whitespark and combines the insights of all the top local SEOs in the world. Brian is an excellent blogger. He's written for Bright Local, the Local U blog, and on the Sterling Sky Company blog. I caught up with Brian at Old Irving Brewing Co on the north side of Chicago for a wide-ranging conversation about local SEO. What is Brian's approach to local link building? How does he approach updates to Google's algorithm? What's it like working with Joy Hawkins and the dream team at Sterling Sky? I'm going to ask Brian these questions and many others. Grab something cold to drink and join me for a conversation with Brian Barwig. We'll talk about local spam, and his answers may surprise you. We'll spend a little time chatting about the ways local SEOs are getting stretched to do more challenging things. And I'll talk to him about a Chicago staple for steak lovers, the Cherry Circle Room. Brian Barwig, welcome to Suds Search. How you doing?
Excellent. Thanks for having me, Mark.
It is a long time coming having you on here. We talked about it a while ago, having you in person, and then this COVID thing happened, and it's been 2 years. You're just catching up with you. How's your summer been? How's everything going at Sterling Sky? What you been up to?
Yeah, everything's going great. Sterling Sky is doing really well, growing at a rapid pace. I think when we started, I was about the 9th or 10th person there. Now we're up to about 30. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, just rolling along.
That's great. And I wanted to ask you about Sterling Sky because I don't know if everybody watching this is even going to realize the impact they make in local SEO. They've got the Local U conference. They've got the Local Search Forum. About 9 other things I'm forgetting off the top of my head. You know, kind of talk about what it's like to work there and the impact that they're making on local SEO.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Joy started it, Joy and Colin, and it's been a ride so far. You know, I can't say enough good things about the company. We have I don't know, 6 or 7 Google product experts on the team now.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and it just keeps growing. So, you know, people contact us all the time thinking that we're Google. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, can't say enough good things about the company and just about the people that work there.
All right, well, let's get into some topics in local SEO. And you know, at this time, we're talking about a pretty significant Google update. It's just rolling out almost as we're filming here. So I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen here, but this is an open-ended question about how you approach updates like this. Are you panicking? Are you looking at tools every day? How do you assess Google updates as they come out? You know, they're increasingly coming out with these things, but what's your approach to it? Do you just kind of sit back and have a beer and relax, or what do you do?
Pretty much, if you're doing it right, that's what you got, right? You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I think you're referencing the Google
helpful
content update,
yes,
right?
Yes.
I think it is rolling out right now as we speak. Typically, those are disasters when they roll out, right?
Yes.
We'll see what happens there, but Google rarely gets it right on the first try when they do a rollout, but we'll see. I guess in terms of what we're looking for, we don't usually check a lot of tools or anything like that. We're looking at, you know, our clients, the competitors that they have there, who's kind of increasing, who's decreasing in the rankings. I guess for those we use, you know, Places Scout, some of the local tools, checking analytics and Search Console and things like that. But most of the time we don't really worry too much about algo updates or new updates that come out. Because again, if you're doing SEO the right way, which most people, you know, a lot of people that we deal with are anyways, right. You know, it shouldn't have much of an impact. Seems to me like this one, the way that they geared it or the way that they're talking about it was more towards AI generated content and affiliates, but again, we'll have to kind of wait and see how that happens when the rollout's complete.
Yeah, and I think that's good advice. You can sleep well at night when you're just doing the right things, right? It's like not trying to do too much. So the other thing, I've had a couple of local SEOs on recently, and they both said similar things, although slightly different. That local SEO is becoming more than it was, you know, 2-3 years ago, where we were talking about GMB at that time, GBP. We were talking a lot about, you know, maybe on-site signals and cities in the H1s and stuff like that. But now we're being stretched a little bit into things that are maybe more technical SEO. You know, I think Emily Brady mentioned Schema has like 145 local. There are 145 schemas for local businesses. You know, these are ways that we're being stretched. Do you feel like you know, this is a different job than you had 2 years ago? You've been there, done that. You've been in this business for over a decade. As you reflect on these last couple of years, are you feeling like there's been some stretching, that local SEOs are
being forced to learn new skills and to develop new abilities.
Yeah, I think so, and I think even longer than 2 years. I think we're starting to see it really come on, and like a lot of more local SEOs are starting to talk about this now. But I can even remember several years ago when I was dealing strictly with attorneys at AttorneySync. We had to do a lot of technical stuff on the website just to make sure. Kind of goes back to the foundational SEO stuff, where make sure the house is good and then build up from there, right? So you're making sure that the technical aspect is good, then you got the content and links, and you're just kind of building out from there. So I think that local SEOs are broadening their horizon more a little bit with the things that they are trying to learn and kind of expected to learn now with technical and schema and just kind of all that stuff. Whereas I think probably in the past you had kind of local was kind of the side project of the regular SEO program, and now you have kind of all of that blended together. So if you have like we do or like you do, working on local clients particularly rather than enterprise or something like that, and you have your local SEOs working on that, they kind of need to have a wider range of skills rather than we can just outsource that to somebody else.
Yeah. Even things like citations used to be
right.
such a needle mover in local SEO, and it was kind of an easy thing to do. Now it's a diminished signal, and these other things that are more challenging are becoming more. So, we talked about the way things have changed. One thing that hasn't changed very much is spam is still prevalent on the maps. I can't believe I've been doing this show for 3 years now, and that's still a topic I always almost can't have a local SEO on here without talking about. I think one of the things that I worry about is the mom and pop. So like people can hire an agency like us and we can help clean up map spam if we want to, but it's not overly complicated to do that. So a mom and pop, diner, a grocery store, something like that, they could help. They could take this into their own hands, and we could kind of democratize this data. I'm curious, can you help explain the sorts of spam that you're seeing a lot at Sterling Sky, and kind of maybe some easy tactics to clean that up if you notice a competitor is ranking because they've got a bunch of keywords in their business name or something like that? What do you suggest?
I hope Joe doesn't kill me for this stuff, but we see a lot of keyword stuffing the business name, which I recommend. It works all the time. Google doesn't punish for that or anything, suspend for that anymore. We see a lot of fake reviews, so there's a lot of review spam, and then there's just a lot of you see in like garage doors or auto industry or things like that with just fake listings in general, right? Those are kind of the big three that we see. With reviews, you can there's a new system that they rolled out recently where you can flag reviews, and I forget the name of the form that they use, but there's a new form that you can use within the GMB dashboard to flag reviews within there. That's still kind of hit and miss. It's can be effective if it's very obvious to Google. Sometimes it's not. One thing that we've actually been using quite a bit of is the Transparency Company.
Okay.
And they are fairly new, but come onto the scene pretty quickly and made some noise. And so what they do is basically have a review system that they put in place, and they look at all the reviews to see if it's fake or not. And then they are actually submitting information to Google and attorney generals and things like that to actually help out the mom and pop shops. If you got all these other places that are actually spamming there too. And then again, the Google My Business or Google Business,
it's going to take a while for us to get this straight. Yeah.
The spamming of that name. I mean, there's Google. You can report that. Google take it down, and then you could have your client put it right back up the very next day. Yeah. So there's really no stopping that at the moment.
Wow. So that's a controversial statement. I like it though. So I want to shift gears if we can. You mentioned you worked with attorneys a lot. Probably a lot of link building in that field. That's kind of how you move the needle with lawyers. Ross Hudgens from Siege Media recently made a lot of news. It was kind of went wild on SEO Twitter and on LinkedIn and everywhere else. I think some other shows have talked about it, but he said Siege Media is no longer doing manual link building, which is a shift. They have a big reputation for being big time link builders. They're going to have a different approach where they think they can automatically generate links. It's not like they're saying links don't matter anymore. But I'm curious, at this stage, we're filming this in late August 2022. How do you view manual link building in a local campaign?
Yeah, we still use it, right? And there's different ways that you can go about it. And link building is a hot topic of discussion anytime it ever comes up, right? We still focus on the citations and directories, but the bigger ones, right? We're not going off and like hitting the ones that are 100, 200 deep, but make sure you got Yelp, Facebook, Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, that kind of stuff, Home Advisor, right? For whatever industry you're in, lawyers need Justia and Navo and FindLaw, things like that. Make sure you're hitting the big ones, and then there's obviously some outreach that goes on with content production and things like that. So if you have for lawyers again, if you have a cool injury map or something like that, or that still works. A little bit harder to do that because now everybody's kind of doing that as well. But and then we still do a lot of local link building as well, right? So like finding businesses around your client's business that maybe they go to often or they deal with on a daily basis, trying to get some either content rolling like that or maybe even some reciprocal links and things like that. Stuff that especially for local, you can get those little mom and pop shops to link to your site, and Google's going to reward that because it's relevant, you're in the area, you're doing business with these people. So especially link building again in general, just kind of a hot topic, but we definitely still do a lot of manual.
Yeah, and I would say things like the local search ranking factors, which I know you've been a part of in the past, would indicate it's still something that local SEOs are very interested in and believe that it makes a big difference. The biggest thing on that local search ranking factors is GBP generally. So the factors on there, you mentioned you've been growing. That means you're getting new clients. That means that you're maybe inheriting somebody else's work, or maybe these are people who've never done local SEO before. What are the kind of 3 or 4? You always see it. It's like they're not doing. Maybe it's not. They don't have. They have just one category selected, or maybe they're not seeding and answering Q&A. What are some of the common pitfalls that you're seeing with campaigns that you take on?
Yeah, so I think you nailed 2 of them right there, right? Minimal categories or the wrong category. So the secondary categories aren't going to help you rank a ton, right? But if someone's looking for some secondary category that you have listed, it'll help you show up a little bit. So you want to make sure that you fill all those out there. I think there's 9 or 10 right now that you can actually continue on, right? Main category and then 9 or 10 secondary categories. Having the wrong URL is a big one. So
good one.
Most of the time, especially for local and medium and small businesses, you're going to want it to the homepage. But you get some lawyers and things like that with locations in different cities. You want to sometimes you want to vary that, or if you purely want to focus on car accidents, you maybe want to throw it a link to the car accident page. And then I think one of the pitfalls that we see too is we want to optimize the entire Google My Business. I'm still saying Google My Business.
I know.
Google My Business profile at all times, right? And most of the time, other businesses or SEO agencies are not doing that.
Yeah.
And the reason we do that is, one, it's because GBP, GMB, whatever, I'm interchanging.
Okay, I just started calling it Search Console, not Webmaster Tools, so we're gonna 10 years
So
ago.
you basically want to fill out all of that information in there because you never know when Google's going to use it, right?
Yep.
The justifications coming out, sometimes they use them, sometimes they don't. Google My Posts are now being pulled in. Your GMB page is basically the new homepage, right?
Yes.
And Blumenthal's been saying that for years, and everybody's starting to catch up to it now. But the more information that you have in there, the more you can fill it out, questions and answers, products, services, all that stuff, the better off you're going to be.
I love it. And so, what are you finding that people are actually taking? Is this accelerating? So this phrase by Mike Blumenthal is the phrase. Again, there are things when you have a local SEO on, they're going to say Google is your new homepage. Are you finding that these trends are accelerating? That this sort of zero-click search now is accelerating in local SEO? That people are taking actions from GBP, that people are converting without ever visiting a website, and that's a trend that may continue here into the new year.
Yeah, I think so. Again, the more information that you can fill out on your profile there, the GMB profile, the better off you're going to be, right? If people have questions and we're at a brewery right now, right?
Yeah.
If you're looking for a place to park and somebody asks a question on your Google My Business profile, more than likely other people have that question too, right? And if you've never been here, do you have a parking lot? Can we park here? Things like that. So yeah, I mean, maybe they're not, conversion factors, right? But it's going to help, people just find out more information about the business, help customers, once they get there. We also have call tracking on the Google My Business profiles as well, which you should have, right?
Yeah.
So that way you can know how many people are calling your business directly from the Google My Business profile without actually visiting the website, right? So you know that that's occurring, but if you don't have call tracking set up, you don't know how often people are actually doing that.
All right, last question about local SEO. What are the tools for the job? What are the kind of, you're starting your day, you've got your cup of coffee, you want to go into 2-3 tools to kind of gauge where everything's at. What are the things you have to have in order to do your job as a local SEO?
That's good. So analytics and Search Console, I'm always in. I use Place to Scout a lot. They do a lot of basically local grid tracking with map pins and things like that. So it's easy to tell, show clients movement over time, positive or negative. Ahrefs I use a lot as well.
Yeah.
That's good for link building, link intersects, content gap stuff. I use that a lot. Those are probably the main 4 that I use on a daily basis. So.
All right, I love it. Well, now I'm going to get to everybody's favorite part of the show. This is where Greg Gifford gives me a question for the guest, but gives me no context. So it's a bit of a high wire act for both of us. For you, he has Cherry Circle Room. Does this ring a bell to you at all? Do you know what he's talking about here?
I believe I do. Is that a restaurant in Chicago?
There is a restaurant in Chicago called Cherry Circle Room.
I believe that was it.
Does this ring a bell to you?
Yeah, I think that was a couple of years ago, pre-COVID, when me and Greg and I believe Guy Sakalakis were up there hanging out, having some dinner and drinking some bourbon.
I love it. They probably have a steak on that menu too, if I know Greg at all. So
yeah.
Well, cool. And then here's the last one. This is from me. I know you're an avid hockey fan. It was not a great year for the Blackhawks last year, but hope springs eternal. What do you expect from the Blackhawks this season? How are you feeling about their prospects?
It's going to be the worst season I've ever seen, probably. And I hope they do that in order to get some high draft picks, because they are in some trouble right now.
They're in a little bit of trouble, right?
Yeah.
It's not a great time for Chicago sports generally, I don't think. So
It rarely is, honestly.
yeah, it's true. Well, they had the run. The Blackhawks had the great run with
Yeah.
three championships. So here's the last thing. Local U is coming up November 2nd. Because you're on here, I wanted to make sure you knew that we were going to be sponsoring 3 people to I think they're called scholarships. We have 3 scholarships for
Excellent.
people to attend, and so I think this is an awesome thing. I just want to make sure others who are able to will do the same thing, because if, as you can see on LinkedIn, people are starting to lose jobs. There's starting to be like more openings. If somebody still wants to learn and level up, it's a way for them to go to the show to get skills and to hopefully get a job. What will they get at Local U in November 2nd? Tell us about the conference series and what they could expect.
I don't want to give too much away. I'm not sure who's even speaking yet.
Yeah.
But Local U is just great, right? It's not only are you going to learn a lot from a lot of the presenters that are there, right? A lot of new presenters, a lot of up-and-coming presenters, especially in the local SEO game. Try to kind of diversify the topics a lot as well, so you're not hearing the same thing regurgitated over and over. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest advantages of Local U as well is, just going out there and just kind of networking with everyone, right? Everybody's in local, everybody's there to learn, everybody's just kind of feeding, bouncing ideas off each other and things like that. And just the amount of information that you can attain from the conference, and then going to the after parties and things like that. That's really kind of where I get the most value of it, anyways. So
awesome. Well, we'll be sure to link to it in the show notes. In the meantime, you're like the 6th person from Sterling Sky we've had on. You guys have been awesome to me in the show, and I'm so happy we could do this in person and actually have a beer together.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. And I know I was waiting for my invite in person. I know COVID hit, but everybody else, all the Canadian Sterling Sky people were getting in ahead of me, and it was
Yeah,
it was worrying me.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I'm so happy to do it. I'll give you a cheers for now, and for
Absolutely.
everybody else, we'll be back next week with another episode of Suds Search.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.